guys, today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the differences between the two Daiwa coastal reels. Now these reels are kind of made for inshore fishing or freshwater fishing, either or. I use them just for freshwater fishing. I don't do any inshore fishing up here in Minnesota, so can't really speak to how well they perform in salt water, but both of them are gorgeous reels. Both of them have performed very well for me, and I'll just kind of go over the specs of both of them so you can hopefully decide which one you would like to purchase over the other. So first up, we'll go with the one I've had the longest. This is the Coastal TWS 200HS. I got this in a 7.3-to-1 gear ratio. This is the bigger of the coastal reels. This is a 200 size, so it's got a bigger spool. It can hold 125 yards, a 17-pound test mono, so that's quite a big capacity there. It weighs in at 8.1 ounces, so it's pretty light for a baitcaster this size. It's got 15.4 pounds of drag, and on Tackle Warehouse this is going for $230 right now. On Amazon you can find it for as cheap as $165. I bought mine on Amazon. I do have to give a little caveat. Sometimes on Amazon, it's never happened to me yet, but I have seen people leave reviews that they bought a baitcaster from Amazon from some third-party seller, and it either came the wrong gear ratio, the wrong reel, or one that looked like it had been returned and damaged. So there is always a little bit of risk with that. I do think they have a good return policy, but you don't want to go through the hassle of ordering on Amazon, waiting a couple days or a week for it to get there, and then realizing it's not what you wanted. You have to send it back. So there is always a risk. To me, to save 65 bucks, it's kind of worth the risk as long as you got a good return policy. So definitely would, if you want to save some money, you want to take a chance, Amazon is the way to go. Otherwise, if you want to be sure and you don't really care about the money that much, I would order it from Tackle Warehouse. So I am mainly throwing this for big swim baits. What I got on right now is a single hook owner 7/0 hook, and then this little 13 fishing BAMF shad. I think it's a BAMF shad. Yep. So I got 50-pound test braid on here, and then I have a 20-pound test fluoro leader. Throwing this on a St. Croix Bass X 7.4 heavy. So this is basically like my soft swim bait rod here, soft swim bait setup. Single hooks. I have a different one for glide baits, but this thing is absolutely phenomenal. This reel is so good. It is very light. It casts well. The T-wing system obviously performs good. The Mag Force Z cast control gets it dialed in really well. This thing bombs lures. Especially, it's kind of a heavier setup, so if you're throwing heavier baits on there, it is absolutely going to bomb them. For lighter baits, it's probably not really the reel you want to go with. It's more of a power application, but it does cast like 3/8 ounce baits pretty well too. Anything smaller than that, you're really going to want to go with a different reel. It has these kind of big oversized knobs, and these things are really comfortable. They're like just a super hard foam on there. They're not the wind grips, so I do like the wind grips too, but these work really well. It's got the big oversized handle. Like I said, it has 15.4 pounds of drag, so it has some serious stopping power on here as well. And I haven't really tested this thing out with too big a fish. Probably 8 or 9 pound pike is the biggest fish I've tested this on, but I handled it flawlessly. Drag on this one is super smooth. I think that's pretty much all you guys need to know. I've had this reel for a couple of years. Oh, it did come slightly under lubed or slightly under oiled, so I did put a little bit of just some real oil I had in there. Take off the side plate here with a quarter. Just put it in there and start twisting it counterclockwise. You could pop this side off, pull the spool out, and then down in the spool there, just did a couple drops of oil, and then just casted it, reeled it in a few times, rotating the reel while I'm reeling this way, this way, this way, just to kind of work that oil into the gears. So it did come slightly under oiled, like I said, put a little bit of oil in there, and this reel should be phenomenal. It should last you many years. It is mag sealed, I believe, so it is saltwater ready, but even in freshwater, this thing just stands up extremely well to anything you throw at it. Great reel, 165 bucks on Amazon, $230 on Tackle Warehouse. You really can't go wrong either way. And then the newer model, this is the Tatula, or not the Tatula, the Daiwa Coastal SV. So this one has the SV spool. This is a smaller spool. Phenomenal casting with the SV spool, even on lighter baits. This one, if you want to throw lighter baits like 3/8 ounce and less, I would definitely go with this one over the 200. This one has 11 pounds of drag. It does have a little bit bigger handle, so it's a 100 millimeter handle. Much smaller grips on here, but compared to the Tatulas, these grips are slightly bigger than that. So they work really well. It has 11 pounds of drag, and I have seen a few people comment and leave reviews on Amazon and on Tackle Warehouse that the drag on here can kind of go out. So certain people have not had very good experiences with the drag on here, and they need to upgrade the washers. I haven't had any problems with it yet. I've thrown it for about 10 months, and I've used it quite a bit, not a ton. I have 12 other bait casters, so I rotate through them a lot, but I have taken this one out at least 25 times, and I've never had a problem with the drag on it. Again, catching pike up to 8 or 10 pounds is the biggest fish I've had on this thing. This is also on a St. Croix Bass X 7'1" medium. This one is my topwater setup, and right now I got the Whopper Plopper on there. Much lighter rod, much better bend in the rod here. So this one, and I do have braid on here. I got 30-pound test braid actually that's straight braid right now. I did have a monoliter on there, but that's straight braid. Really like this setup for the Whopper Plopper because the straight braid gets you a really good hook set, but the rod has a lot of play in it, so when those fish get close to the boat, they can't throw the lure as easily. And the Whopper Plopper, for some reason, it just does not seem to hook fish very good. Once in a while, you get a really solid hook set on them. A lot of times, I've had smallmouth on the river hammer this thing. You know, you feel like you got a good hook set on them, and the first time they jump, they just throw the thing. So, going with a little bit more bend in the rod, whether you're getting a moderate action or a medium power or whatever, just so you can get that good bend in the rod and it really loads up and absorbs those head shakes so they can't throw that. That really seems to work well for the Whopper Plopper. Another thing I didn't really touch on, okay, yeah, I did say 8.1 ounces for the 200. This one is 6.9, so a decent amount lighter. You're not really gonna notice that reduce weight that terribly much, but you will notice the smaller size on this. This one's way easier to palm. It's a 150 size spool, but they said they fit it into a 100 size reel. So this thing is really compact, really easy to palm, and with this little Bass X rod, 7.1 medium power, this thing is just super light. You can throw this all day, no problem. I did go with the 8.1 to 1 gear ratio on this one as well. So it works good for burning the Whopper Plopper at times. Also, you can just reel it in really slow, or a lot of times if you're fishing a Whopper Plopper or some other type of topwater like this, giving it pauses and twitches and stuff works really well. I have thrown chatter baits, spinner baits, several other things on this reel and just handled them all extremely well. Once again, this one came slightly under oiled, so I did same thing. Right on the mag force braking system here, put a quarter in there, turn it counterclockwise, pull it open. Put a couple drops of oil into the gears there, and then make a couple casts, reel all different directions here, so you kind of work that oil into the reel. After I did that, handles phenomenally once again. Some people, like I said, have a little problems with the drag here, so if you need to upgrade the washers, just check out Tatula washers for the drag, like a replacement drag, and put those in. It might be a little bit of a hassle, so if you need a reel, I don't know, this reel's performed so flawlessly for me, I'd hate to not recommend it, but if you're a little nervous about the drag and you don't want to mess with it yourself and put your own drag washers in there, I'd probably just go with the Tatula SV, and that's going to be a little bit cheaper, and as far as I know, no problems with the drag. But if you really like the blue finish, or if you want to do some inshore or saltwater fishing, I highly recommend this reel. Just like I said, you might have to replace the drag on it. I have not had to, but I don't want to comment on that and steer you in the wrong direction, so just heed that warning. So on Tackle Warehouse right now, this one's $250. On Amazon you can get it for as low as $200. So once again, a little bit of a risk ordering on Amazon, but you can save up to $50 on it. So Highly recommend this reel with that small caveat to the drag. And if you're wondering which reel you want to go with, like I said, 3/8 ounce baits or lower, or if you're just kind of fishing smaller fish, or especially like freshwater, if you're throwing it for bass or even up to pike or anything like that, I would definitely go with the 150. Trout, anything like that. If you want to throw it for, like, let's say big pike or catfish or stripers or something like that, I definitely go with the 200. And the 200, I mean, you could even use that as like a lighter musky setup. So you throw in a little bit smaller musky baits, maybe up to like 1 ounce or 2 ounce baits or something like that. I think the Coastal would handle them perfectly fine. Anything else, I would recommend going up to the 300 Lexa. So hopefully I answered a few questions for you guys, gave you guys a few tips on which direction to steer you in. If you're not doing inshore fishing or saltwater fishing, the Tatula line is phenomenal as well. Regular Tatula, Tatula SV, and I've not had the pleasure of throwing the Tatula Elite yet, but I've also heard phenomenal things about the Tatula Elite. So if you guys have any other questions about the Coastal reels or any Daiwa reels in general, I'd be happy to help you guys out. Just ask a comment or ask a question down in the comments section. Subscribe for some more gear reviews and some fishing videos, and I will see you guys in the future. Thanks for watching this video.